Welcome back, Giants fans. So today we have the Giants Week 3 game preview a day later than usual. My fault. I was actually stuck in the airport for literally half the day yesterday, so it just wasn't possible, but now I'm home, so we'll do it. All right, so Week 3 here. The Giants are in what I think is a must-win situation here with the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm sure Falcons fans are saying the same thing. The Giants do have higher expectations, I will say, however. Now, for the injuries, we got some confirmation that the A.J. Terrell cornerback for the Falcons, he's their starter, cornerback 1 basically, is out for this game with a concussion. Their number 2 receiver, technically, Russell Gage, is out with an ankle injury. Now, Russell Gage wasn't being used much this year. I guess Kyle Pitts coming into the equation kind of helped with that. But, Russell Gage was not going to be a big loss for this team, but it helps, I will say. He was more of their slot wide receiver last year when Julio was there. Now, for the Giants, Evan Engram, calf injury. Joe Judge made it sound like he might play. So I do kind of expect Evan Engram to play. And I do think it's possible the Giants have missed Evan Engram the first 2 games. I think Evan Engram may make a pretty big impact on this team. I know a lot of Giants fans don't like him, but I do think he will help this team. And Kenny Golladay with a hip injury, they said it's not the same one as last year, so it's not really we shouldn't be that concerned about it, but I think he will play. And I do think Kenny Golladay has a nice game in this one. I actually wanted to say, I'm sure you guys have watched NFL Network before, how they have like that fantasy football section. They kind of have like that bottom bar. It says start him, sit him. They had Kenny Golladay and sit him. I was like, that's kind of weird because this is an awesome matchup. No A.J. Terrell once again for the Falcons. If I was playing fantasy, I would start Kenny Golladay, but I don't have him on any teams, so I can't do that. Anyway, for the Falcons offense, they're off to a slow start. 31 points in 2 games. Of course, they scored like 3 points or 6 points against the Eagles in Week 1. Then last week, their offense looked a little better against the Buccaneers, but still not great. Matt Ryan threw 2 pick sixes to the same guy on Tampa Bay, as some of you know. Their offensive line has a lot of problems. I mean, their right guard, Chris Lindstrom, very good player. Left tackle, Jake Matthews, a pretty good player as well for the most part. But their left guard, center, and right tackle spots have definitely been in question, especially left guard. Their rookie, Jalen Mayfield, out of Michigan, not Maryland. He's had a rough start to his career so far. And Matt Hennessy, a guy that some Giants fans wanted out of Temple, is their center. He's gotten off to a slow start in his career as well. And right tackle, Caleb McGarry, he played pretty well last year, but off to a slow start this year. So their offensive line has definitely had a lot of issues. Maybe just as bad as ours, honestly. Probably worse so far to start this year. Now, containing Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley, that's the main thing in this game. Calvin Ridley is an awesome receiver, didn't get the recognition because Julio Jones was there, and he's kind of gotten off to a slow-ish start. Not that bad, but a slow-ish start. I expected a bit better. But the Falcons, if you've watched their offense here with Arthur Smith, who is their new head coach, former OC of the Titans, they have not really been pushing the ball downfield as much. Now, part of it's probably due to the offensive line of Atlanta not being as good as it used to, but yeah, maybe it's part of the new play caller as well. So there is a new play caller there. Calvin Ridley has not really gone off yet, and I kind of am concerned about that here against the Giants, especially, who had a lot of problems with Terry McLaurin and even Jerry Jeudy when he was healthy in the Broncos game in Week 1. Now, for Kyle Pitts, we know about him, the former 4th overall pick in this past draft. He is a dynamic player, probably one of the most athletic tight ends to ever step foot on a football field, and he hasn't had a blow-up game yet, but I'm concerned because we have a lot of problems covering tight ends. Jabril Peppers has been torched by tight ends all year so far, Noah Fant and Logan Thomas, and it's not like Blake Martinez is known for his coverage. We saw Tate Crowder get torched by J.D. McKissick on a wheel route last week. I am concerned about covering Kyle Pitts in this game over the middle of the field. And speaking of fantasy football, some people I listen to or follow on Twitter expect this to be a big breakout game for Kyle Pitts. So the Giants have to find a way to contain him and not let him take over this game, although he's very tough to stop. Now, Cordero Patterson is an interesting one. So the Falcons signed Mike Davis, who was Christian McCaffrey's backup last year, had a good year for the Panthers. He was signed by the Falcons, and Mike Davis is still listed as the starting running back. But Cordero Patterson, who is a former, first-round pick wide receiver of the Minnesota Vikings, bounced around with a few teams. I think he went to like Oakland, the Patriots, and somewhere else, the Bears last couple years, I should say. And they've been using him a lot out of the backfield, especially as a receiver. So throwing those swing passes and just getting the ball in his hands. He's a very fast player, can make guys miss. So Cordero Patterson's definitely tough to tackle in the flat. Have to take care of him, of course. And the Giants have had problems with guys like that. He's not short, but like more of the quick running back, I guess, out of the backfield type guys, the J.D. McKissick type guys. We've always had problems with those players, it seems like. So we'll find out. Boston Scott definitely comes to mind. I'm sure Giants fans know about Boston Scott. Thank God he's out of their rotation. But yeah, Boston Scott definitely comes to mind. So got to take care of Cordero Patterson. Now for the Falcons defense, they have allowed the most points in the NFL, so definitely not good. They allowed 48 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week. Yes, 2 of those were, I think, pick sixes against the Buccaneers. And then the Eagles put up like 33, I think, against them in week 1, so they have not had a good year defensively, and they had a rough couple years under Dan Quinn in 2019, 2020 with the Falcons defense. Their run defense, I put rush defense, but their run defense is bottom 10 in the NFL. And speaking of that, Saquon Barkley, this is the week I expect Saquon to eclipse 100 yards and have a big game. I think Saquon Barkley gets, his usual workload. It's 10 days off. He'll get 18 to 20 carries. I feel like he'll get over 100 yards, hopefully get some work in the receiving game. I think Saquon Barkley has his big, I don't want to call it a breakout game because he's a tremendous player, but just his big breakout game for 2021. I'll put it that way. So Saquon had that big run last week for 50-something yards. Didn't do much else outside of that. I think this is the week Saquon Barkley tears apart this Falcons defense, but we'll see. They have some impressive linebackers on this team. So they have a guy in Deion Jones who was, I think, a second-round pick out of LSU a few years ago. He played on that Super Bowl team, and he's a really dynamic player as well. Very fast. He's a good tackler. Has like that sideline-to-sideline ability and can cover tight ends. Now, Evan Engram coming back in this game definitely is going to help the Giants, but if Deion Jones is matched up on him, I don't know what he's going to do against Deion Jones because he's very good. They also have a linebacker in Foye Oluokun. He was a guy that was once a safety coming out of college, and he's turned into a really good linebacker for the Falcons. Had a lot of tackles for them last year. He forces fumbles, big hitter, had an interception against Mahomes last year, I remember. So he is a guy to watch out for as well. So the Falcons defense as a whole doesn't scare me, but their linebacking core is scary. And also Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett is another guy that was on that Super Bowl team. Might have been a rookie that year as well, or second year. But Grady Jarrett is a tremendous player. Gets a ton of pressures from the interior. He just moves guys easily. And we have a lot of problems, obviously, at the interior offensive line spot. Joe Judge mentioned how he wants to rotate offensive linemen again at that left guard position. So we'll see what happens there, but it might be Ben Bredesen one drive. It might be Matt Skura another drive. Obviously, no more Nick Gates here, so that sucks, but we have to, even Shane Lemieux's out for the year too, so 2 guys are now gone. The Giants have to rotate guys. Apparently, I know some fans want continuity on the offensive line, but you ain't getting it. That's what Joe Judge said, basically, and even Matt Parrott maybe put in there right tackle at some points as well. We'll see, but containing Grady Jarrett, who, his production speaks for itself, he's a very good player, so got to contain him, of course. Dante Fowler versus Andrew Thomas. So Dante Fowler was once a very high pick, like a 4th overall pick back in 2015, 2016 with Jacksonville. Kind of bounced around with the Rams, went to the Falcons recently. He's off to a pretty good start. Had an okay year last year, but he's off to a good start so far this year. He'll be up against Andrew Thomas most of the game, and Andrew Thomas has been pretty good so far this year. I can't complain about him, so as long as Andrew Thomas keeps it up, we should be fine, but I kind of always fear about Andrew Thomas with the speed edge rushers like Dante Fowler is, so we'll see how that one goes. And their secondary is nothing impressive. They have, not Deron. Do they have Deron Harmon? I forget who they have now. I want to look at the Falcons depth chart real quick because, of course, I forget, but they don't have the most talent on this defense. Well, yeah, they have Deron Harmon. They have the Harris guy. What's his name? Eric Harris from the Raiders. He wasn't that good. Foster Moreau, AJ Terrell's out. So they are not going to be that great in the secondary. I think this is a game where Daniel Jones should once again have a really good performance. And I expect Daniel Jones to have a 250-yard and hopefully multiple touchdown type game. Maybe have some read option plays where he pulls it and runs for 50, 60 yards in this game as well. We'll see. But this is definitely a big spot for Daniel Jones to kind of put the team on his back against a bad defense and put up a ton of points. Like, I do think the Giants should put up near 30 points, if not more, in this game against Atlanta. So it is a must-win game. I don't want to say that in week 3, but it is, because looking at the Giants' schedule coming up after this game, you play the Saints. It doesn't get much easier there. You play Dallas. You play the Rams. And even the Panthers soon, who have been off to a 3-0 start. Like, it's going to be a tough road ahead for the Giants. They have to win this game if they're serious about having a good record, even competing for the playoffs this year. Have to win this game here in week 3. Can't start 0-3, especially with Eli Manning's jersey being retired or number being retired at halftime. Just don't let Eli down. I'm sure he wants to see this team win more than anybody. So, yeah, don't let that happen, please. But anyway, Hopefully you guys enjoyed the Hakeem Nicks picture as well. That's one of my favorite plays for the Giants. Hakeem Nicks catching that just underneath route and making guys miss and doing the whole like dirty bird thing in the end zone. It was awesome. So anyway, the Giants are actually favored by 3 in this game. So usually I don't do score predictions this year, but hey, I'm actually picking them to win, so I'm going to do it. I put on Twitter 27-20 Giants. I have them winning. I'll stick with that. I say the Giants win 27-20, get their first win, go 1-2. If they lose this game, I'll have a lot to say, but hopefully they find a way to get this one done. I don't care if they win by 1 or 2. I know people want a convincing win. It's funny because there's so many people at different ends of the spectrum here. You have Giants fans that are like, the Falcons suck. They should beat them by 14 or more. Then you have Giants fans in the middle that are like, they should win this game by at least, maybe 4, 5, 6 points, which is kind of where I'm at. And then you have fans that are like, we suck. We're not beating anybody. So I'm kind of in the middle. I think we win this game by hopefully 4 to 7 points, somewhere in there. Maybe more, hopefully. We'll find out. But if the Giants offense doesn't show out in a game like this, I will have my concerns. Obviously, they looked really good against Washington, who maybe had their defense a bit overrated heading into this year. But the Giants put up 29 points, I believe, against them. Hopefully against this Falcons defense, which is worse, we should have a good game offensively. So we'll see. The Giants defense has to step up here. I put on Twitter yesterday, my main concern about this game is that Patrick Graham has that conservative type scheme where he sits in zone all game. We have no pass rush. Our best pass rusher so far is second-round rookie Azeez Ojulari. You can't rely on that guy to be your number one pass rusher. Leonard Williams needs to wake up. Even Dexter Lawrence has to wake up. Not much of a sack guy, but get the pressures. A lot of guys have to wake up. Lorenzo Carter, too. So if we play in a zone and Matt Ryan's getting no pressure, Matt Ryan's still a good quarterback when he's not pressured. The reason Matt Ryan has not been good this year is because there's so much pressure in his face. If you watch the Tampa Bay game, pressure's everywhere. The Eagles game, there's pressure everywhere. If you can't get a pass rush on Matt Ryan, he might revert back to the good Matt Ryan, not the MVP version, but the 2018, 2019 version of Matt Ryan. So you have to get some type of pressure there, whether it's from, sending extra guys or something. I don't know. They have to get a pressure on Matt Ryan, kind of knock him on his ass a few times and make him uncomfortable, because once again, it was Taylor Heineke and Teddy Bridgewater were playing too much 7-on-7. There was no pass rush. They had all day to sit back there and find the open guy, especially in zone coverage. They would find the soft spot and hit a receiver for 12 to 15 yards, and they would do it over and over and over again. It was frustrating. So the defense has to be good. A pass rush has to develop. Don't know how they do it, but the guy who we're paying $20 million per year in Leonard Williams, hopefully this is the game he wakes up, because we need him. So we'll see. Anyway, leave in the comments, do you expect the Giants to win this game this week? I certainly do. We'll find out what happens. I'll talk to you guys after that game. Also, if you're interested, I'm doing my Week 3 score predictions for the NFL coming out after this, probably sometime tonight. So hopefully you guys stick around for that. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.